Thank you for that lovely... Who's screaming? Here, have a chocolate. Someone else. Oh, one at the back. And you can have one too. So, yeah, don't sue me for that. I'm Javad Malik. Thank you for... And ooh, on and off. Yeah. What do I do? Two hands. Okay. Oh, hold on. That might work. Right. So I've only got 25 minutes or 30 minutes for this talk, so I guess I should...
High-tech solution.
Speed it up. Cool. Thank you. So I won't go into... Okay. Has anyone ever seen seen me on YouTube? Okay, cool. So for those of you who haven't, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's a good thing, okay? So 3 security people walk into a bar. Stop me if you heard this one, yeah? The 3 people are a security person, that security person, and the security person. And if you walk into a conference or if you walk into an interview, that's kind of like you adopt one of those 3 personas. If you haven't seen me on YouTube and if you don't know who I am, I'm just a person here at a conference, standing in front of you, asking you to listen to me. If you have seen me on YouTube, then you're like, oh, he's that person who talks some bollocks. Sorry. Please no one tweet that. Can you edit that out? I joined Alien Vault about a year ago, and it's the first time I've got a PR person who actually, like, you know, slaps my wrist every time I slip up. And yeah, thank you. So yeah, because it's only 25 minutes, I prefer interaction like that. Think of the new Facebook reaction emotions. Interact like that with me. Don't ask long questions because we don't have time for that. Anyway, so if you see me on YouTube, you say, oh, he's that person, and but if I was actually someone of importance and value, then you'd say, oh, he's that person, the person. So during this course of this talk, I might be a person to you now, but by the end of it, I'll demonstrate how I am the security person. So it's broken into 3 acts like a classical drama, but like a Marvel comic, there's something after the trailer, so don't leave too quick if you think that, after the end credits, so don't leave too quickly. This isn't a talk about how to write a CV, or how to go and give an interview, or the body language you should adopt, or the language you should use, or the suit you should wear. There's plenty of really qualified people who can help you do that. This is more about how do you build your career, how do you map out your path, and how do you get ahead. Phew. I don't need to hack my career. I'm perfectly happy. I can cruise along, and work is not my life. Does that describe anyone? Is anyone really, really happy? Is everyone really happy in their job? You've got the right type of work and the right type of money, or you're overpaid. And, if you are, then that's great. But what if disruption happens? And we all talk about disruption because actually over the next few days you're going to hear a lot about disruption because every startup is disruptive in the security space. But on a personal level, we get disrupted all the time. Sometimes we get married or we get divorced or we have kids or an older parent gets ill and we need to look after them. We get ill. Or our company gets acquired by another company or a whole myriad of things happen. Things get disruptive, and then, what you don't want to be is back to square one where it's like, oh crap, now I've got to make a CV and now I've got to go apply like a security person. Hey, look, I've got a CISSP. Boom. Yeah, that should get me in there. No, it doesn't. So a lot of this I built into my own career over many years because I found myself in a position where, I was like, hey, I'm worth more than what I'm getting paid, or I shouldn't have to compete with, masses of uneducated herds. Hey, Tom, nice to see you. Thanks for making it. Cool. But let's say you did find a decent job. And one thing I found very early in my career that there are certain myths that come along with a job that, hey, there's a career ladder, or you'll be treated fairly, or, you'll be rewarded purely on your good work and nothing else. And I found these to be myths, so I thought, okay, need to take matters into my own hands. And we reached the first really main point that I've got to be a bit serious about this. You've got knowledge along the x-axis. And a lot of what we do, we spend our time focusing on that x-axis. You spend your entire career saying, oh, you need to know more, you need to learn more. So we read up, we take courses, we come to conferences and we learn about technical stuff and all that kind of good stuff. But simply moving along the x-axis isn't enough. There's also this y-axis. That is loud. There's also this y-axis that indicates how far your reach or influence goes with that knowledge. How many people do you actually affect positively with that knowledge? You could be the best web app developer in the world. You can code some seriously secure stuff that no one can get into. But if that isn't adopted or easily implemented or, understandable by others, the value goes down. You can break it down into over here, down on this side of, the lower end, maybe only your line manager realizes the value. As you go up, the industry or your peers begin to recognize your value. And right at the top, the public, So that's kind of like where Dave Kennedy is. We're like being asked to come on Fox all the time. And this is where, some noob would be. So now we can play a game. And, the game which I started off playing with, I'm like, oh, well, where do I think I am on the knowledge scale? Out of if this is the sum of all security knowledge, or just knowledge within your particular field, how far along am I on this? And then how far up does my influence and reach go? How many people actually know that I know that much about security? And then it's completely arbitrary, yeah? And then I started plotting points, and I thought, who do I think? So I started thinking about different people. And I thought, how much do they actually know, and how much are they actually known? Or how much influence, or how much positive influence have they got on it? So, you can think, I call this this circle here Peter Lines. Peter Lines is a gentleman I used to work with at a bank, and he probably knew more about card security than anyone I've ever met in the world. He was about 70 the last time I saw him. He was still working. He was involved with the first debit cards sort of design in the UK. He advised many banks and regulations and everything like that. But he was very content in just doing his own work, and no one outside of his bubble knew what he'd done. And at the age of 70, when he was just about to retire, he actually was earning less than what most of the other junior consultants were making. I know money isn't everything. Over here, you've got the excuses zone. This is where people don't really know that much. They're not really willing to increase their knowledge, and they're not really sharing or reaching out to people. So they tend to make excuses. You know what? I'm not getting a pay rise because I'm short, or I'm brown, or I'm overweight. Or I've got facial hair, or I've got tattoos, or piercings, or what. And this is where, and then you find other people that are like this. Oh, yes, I don't get promoted as well because I'm short as well. Yeah, okay. And over here, this is the worst zone to be in. Piers Morgan. That's a good one. Was that you? Oh, who was it? I don't know. I'm just randomly throwing this stuff. I need to get rid of this. These are meant to be... Oh, sorry. These are meant to be... I hope no one's diabetic, because then you think I'm trying to poison you or something. I used to call that the Gregory D. Evans sort of bubble, but Piers Morgan it is. Good one. I'm deliberately pausing here because I think this is one of the main sort of things here. If anyone's got a really quick Facebook-like type reaction to give me, you can do, and I'll throw you chocolate or answer your question. Good. So now, I came on this stage and I was just a speaker. But now I'm that speaker. I'm that speaker who explained a wonderfully complex, formula to you. And I'm that speaker who's been assaulting you with Hershey's chocolates. See? Now, if I had come to this conference and not given a talk, I would have just come as a person and left as a person. But this way, I've influenced this whole room full of fantastic security professionals. So Act 2, habits of highly effective security professionals. And I'll be looking at a lot of people, and some people call it stalking, I call it intensive research, into like what some of our peers do and what makes them really successful. So one thing they do, they make others look good. You know, sometimes there's that tendency to want to hog all the credit, and you can do great stuff and do the credit, but if you make others look good in the process, it actually works really well. You're always pitching. And this is a tweet, Karma, the guy who pushed past me on the tube and then suggested to go F myself, just arrived for his interview. With me. And I see that happening quite a lot at conferences as well. You know, sometimes we come here and there's free booze and there's parties and people get loose a bit, and then you're like, someone's really good, but then you get a call from someone, hey, so-and-so's come for a job interview, what do you think of it? And all you can remember is that person drunk and making inappropriate comments towards the marketing lady. So, you know, these things go a long way. Be a creator, not a consumer. And I think, you know, in our industry, we're pretty good like this. People are always creating stuff, but, you know, the more you create as opposed to consume, the more better it is for everyone. Be known for the success of others. You know, it's really easy to say, hey, man, I totally own this system. Okay, that's cool. Well done. We've been, you know, as an industry, we've been doing that for many years. What are we doing to make that better? Embrace your limitations. Who knows who this gentleman is? He's passed away now. Sorry, who said that? Who? Oh, look at him. Dan's like, oh, it wasn't me. Don't throw the chocolate at me. Oh, okay. Whoever said that. Yeah, it's Scatman John. Now, he was a singer. You can look him up on YouTube. He had a... Wait, oops. I offer this peace offering. He was actually born with a really bad stammer. He couldn't get through a whole sentence in an interview. So he incorporated that actually into his style of singing. He was a success. Okay, he only had one hit, yeah, but that kind of ruins the narrative that I'm trying to sow here. But, you know, trust me, you can embrace your limitations. There are people who work in remote parts of the world now. They don't come to conferences, but they can still make an impact in the industry. There are people who have some challenges, but, you know, personal challenges, physical challenges, but they can still make a thing. And you do that by embracing your limitations. This picture of me here, this is me here. I look like I'm about to throw up because I was about to throw up. This was in 2012, BSides London, and I was about to go and give my first talk. And 5 minutes in, you know, they say it's all about that initial push, like, you know, just get the ball rolling and you feel better. Absolute rubbish. Because 5 minutes in, I was like still shaking, and I was like, I just want this to end. And like, you know, I could see people looking at their phones and losing interest, a bit like that guy in the back, but that's all right. Now everyone at the back's wondering, did he point at me? Did he point at me? No, but yeah. I think, so speaking is one of those things, it's like air miles. You just got to get enough miles up and you get a bit better at it, marginally better. If you're not good at writing or blogging, the more you do it, the better you get. If you're not good at coding, it's like that 10,000 hour rule that Malcolm Gladwell thinks. The obligatory motivational post here of Muhammad Ali. I don't count my sit-ups, I only count them when they start to hurt, because they're the ones that really matter. Are you pushing yourself? Act 3, walking the talk. So how do you bring all these things together and do that? So who's familiar with what this is? It says it on there. Yeah. Yay! So, go on then. There's a personal OSI model that I created. Boom. So this is what I kind of like used to refer to as my personal OSI model when I'm going to a conference, because I'm naturally quite an introvert. I know it doesn't look it. I'm a media whore, actually. But, yeah. I was thinking, okay, these are the things, this is kind of like my little checklist that I'm taking in my back pocket. And what is it? Do I know what I'm talking about? Knowledge is power. If you don't know what you're talking about, just say you don't know what you're talking about. This is what I call the fish and chips presentation layer. Fish and chips are the same. There's the same fish and the same chips, but the presentation makes it very, very different. Where would you take your wife? You know? You know, what would you pay more for? Session. When you interact with someone, you have a session with them, what do they walk away thinking? Did you even listen to what they had to say, or were you talking at 100 miles per hour? I've got an excuse because I'm up on stage and you're not, but generally in one-to-one. What's your transport layer? How are you actually communicating, and what's the best one for you? Are you like me? Do you like to use YouTube? Do you like to speak at conferences? Do you like to write about stuff in blogs? Do you like to post to Medium? Do you like to share stuff through the beauty of Instagram, or do you like to make those coffee and lemon stain portraits? These are all forms of communication. What's your transport channel? Yeah, networking. These are great opportunities. ABD, always, ABN, always be networking, I suppose. And yeah, that goes without saying that, you know, I know conferences are notorious for bad personal hygiene and all that kind of stuff, but hey, we can all do something. Now, this is where I need your help. How much time do we have left? Are we on time? Yeah, cool. Okay. So, like I said, this is a bit like Marvel. I'm going to pretend to end here, yeah? And I really need all your help, yeah? Is everyone paying attention? Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm going to say thank you and walk off stage, and I want you all to start clapping and ask for an encore. Is that good? Cool. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone! Oh man, you guys are too kind. I did not expect this at all. Jeez. I've never in my life seen anyone get an encore performance at a security conference, have you? Well, I'm going to tweet this out. My mom's going to be so proud. Hold on a second. I've got to take a selfie. I'm sorry. Because no one will believe me otherwise. But I'm going to take a selfie. I'll tweet it out later as well. And none of you can refute it because that's 100% the truth. Hold on. I should have... Okay. Okay, cool. So, with an encore, I've now gone from being that guy to the guy who you want speaking at your security conferences. Because this is the most entertaining security professional in the world. And what I mean by that is you can distort your own reality. And you can make... you can't wait for people to come, you know, and recognize your worth. You need to demonstrate your worth. And sometimes that means bending some truth in a way, slightly. I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying, maybe it's spin, yeah? But I'm saying, what are you doing to get yourself noticed? I'm sure most of you will remember this. This has been the best 20 minutes of my life ever. But I'll remember this, and hopefully you'll remember this. At least maybe you might not remember my name or anything, but someone might see someone. Were you at that talk where that guy was talking about some things and he had a bit of an English accent? He had the encore. Yes, him. Yeah? How many other speakers have done that? And find your encore in your career. What are you doing in your career that will get you remembered? When you leave a job, do you actually ever think about the projects that you worked on, other than in a bad light about how messed up it was? But, you know, what do those people think of your work? When they read your name on any documentation on a pen test report, what are they thinking? What legacy have you left behind? Have you left behind enough of a legacy that they say, you know what, we wouldn't mind having this person back? And one of the ways that I think is really powerful is to find your own niche. And there's a comedian I was watching, Reginald D. Hunter, I think, and he was like, Americans love like these motivational short phrases, but they don't mean anything. It's like, be true to yourself, you know, or like in Batman, it's like, to defeat fear, I must become fear, which would be like, to defeat SQL injection, I must become SQL injection. Yeah. So I looked around and asked around a few people, like, what was the best definition of finding your niche? And this is kind of like one of the ones that I settled on, which is like, you know, it's the intersection between your expertise and one of your passions. And if you can, no pictures, please. No, okay, go on. if you can find the intersection, and that could work, and that, it might not make you the person, but it can make you that person, and even becoming that person in the industry at the moment can account for a lot. So now his name escapes me. The guy who does the Faces of DEF CON with the coffee and lemon, the portraits. Yeah, exactly. See, you know him. And how do you know him if he didn't ever do his? Hey, done. There you go. So how would you ever know him if he hadn't done that? A lot of my success in my career came after I started making stupid YouTube videos, flashing my CIS badge and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's kind of like where do you find your passion, and how do you do it with your expertise? I was watching. Did anyone come and see that Soldier of Fortran talk earlier today? That was absolutely fantastic. But no, I know that guy. His niche is like, you know, he's carved out his niche, and he came and demonstrated his niche is mainframe security connected to the internet. Something, you know, hardly anyone else is doing, if anyone's doing. If I say hacking cars, who do you think of? There are a few names that probably pop into your mind. If I say scanning the internet, who do you think of? You know, there's certain things that you think of, and then immediately your mind will go to a few people. And then there's some people who are just generalists. You know, they're the sort of people you say, oh, I just want a safe pair of hands to babysit this risk assessment or doing like these assurance activities. They're a security person. That's just a security person. They're your generalists. But if you want something more specific, then you go to those people, that you go to that person. And that's kind of like, you know, I suppose the essence of what I'm trying to get to. I'll leave you with 3 parting thoughts, because I read this book about the presentation secrets of Steve Jobs, and he always done things in 3s. So, step outside your comfort zone, because that's, you know, and a lot of people, like, and I wasn't joking earlier, I am an introvert. I hate, like, you know, a lot of public interaction and everything, but I had to force myself and, you know, get better at public speaking, and hopefully I'm slightly better. You can tweet me afterwards if you disagree. Keep improving, acquiring new skills, and these are skills for both your knowledge and your passion. When I first started making YouTube videos, it was absolutely atrocious. I used to film on a potato, and it was just horrible. And now it's marginally better, but even now I still, like, you know, have a lot to learn. And the most important thing, and people always say, hey, are you talking to some of the new kids in here? I said, no, I'm talking to some of the older kids in here as well. Because sometimes a lot of people do a really bad job of protecting their reputation. And reputation goes such a long way in such a small, incestuous industry. It's like, you know, if you're at a con like this, you meet one person, and they introduce you to someone else, and it's like, oh, I know you, and you're like the friend of so-and-so, and you're the sister of that. And, you know, it's such a small industry that unless you aggressively protect your reputation, you can lose a lot very quickly. The industry... If you read, like, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure that of the skills gap figures, but what I do know is that there are plenty of jobs out there. And if you're not making the money that you want to make, and if you're not doing the work that you enjoy doing, that's motivating you and challenging you, then I don't think that's the industry for. I say it's easy to fall into the excuses trap, but I think there's plenty of opportunity to do it. And hopefully, it was only half an hour, so I couldn't go into detail around a lot of this stuff. I've got detailed analysis on most of the slides, but you can hook me up afterwards. But, you know, the limitations are mainly self-imposed. This is the boom phase of the industry. Who knows how long it will last? Make hay while the sun shines. And with that, that really is the end. So thank you very much. Encore. No.
On behalf of BSides and Fitbit, we'd like to give him a Fitbit. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks.